To say Caleb Williams was good coming out of college would be an understatement.
Hero play! Hero play! 14-0, Williams, deep shot, receiving.
His final 2 seasons at USC were special, especially that 2022 sophomore season. The Heisman Trophy caliber season where in just 1 year, he propelled himself to being the consensus best quarterback prospects in the 2024 draft class, and even being labeled generational by many. So the Bears, who had the number 1 overall pick, didn't think twice when they selected Caleb Williams first off the board.
Caleb Williams, quarterback, Southern California.
Caleb Williams has the opportunity to be the biggest thing in Chicago since Michael Jordan.
The general consensus surrounding the Bears was that 2024, with the addition of Caleb Williams, was going to be a turnaround point for the Bears. And yeah, it seemed that way. They opened the season with a victory against the Titans, overcame the Rams, the Panthers, and the Jaguars. Heading into their bye week, they held a 4-2 record. It was a great start for a team that hadn't done much winning in a long time. However, when week 7 came around, things changed. The 4-2 Chicago Bears versus the 5-2 Washington Commanders. Caleb Williams, the number 1 overall pick, versus Jaden Daniels, the number 2 overall pick. These 2 teams were 2 of the hottest teams in the entire NFL. Teams who the prior season were bad, but who with the help of their elite rookie quarterbacks were finding success. In this game, both offenses struggled to put up points on the board. However, the Bears, with 25 seconds left in the game, scored a 2-point conversion to put them up 15-12. They were comfortably celebrating as it was essentially over. There was no way the Commanders' rookie quarterback was going to manufacture a 76-yard drive in 19 seconds. It was borderline impossible. It was gonna take a miracle. It probably was just luck, but I'd like to think that this Hail Mary was more than that. To me, it was an indicator of both these teams and how different they truly are. And ultimately, it was a turning point for both teams. Jaden Daniels and the Commanders skyrocketed to the top. He led them all the way to the NFC Championship, and he even had arguably the best rookie quarterback season of all time. The Bears, on the other hand, well, they completely fell apart. Their internal problems that they tried to mask with Caleb Williams became apparent. But this problem isn't exclusive to Caleb, because it's actually been plaguing the Chicago Bears and their quarterbacks for years now. Quarterback graveyard. That's the infamous term that's been heavily associated with the Bears. But to find out the reason why, let's go back to Jay Cutler, the Bears' best quarterback in the modern NFL era. He was an up-and-coming star when the Bears traded a haul for him in 2009. In his time there, Jay Cutler and the Bears did find some success, particularly in 2010 to 2012 when the Bears' defense was elite. However, they only made the playoffs once, which came in 2010. And in that 2010 season, Cutler was sacked 52 times. In Jay Cutler's 8 years there, the Bears consistently had a putrid O-line almost every single year. They also had 3 different head coaches and 6 offensive coordinators. Jay Cutler ended his time with the Bears as their best quarterback in a very long time, but was still underwhelming as he, the team, and the coaching staff left a lot to be desired. Mitchell Trubisky was a quarterback drafted 2nd overall by the Bears in 2017. He was highly touted, even being ranked above the likes of Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes. He was generally considered a raw prospect with a lot of upside. Now, in hindsight, the Bears did reach for him. But the reality of the situation is that the Bears, and specifically his head coach, Matt Nagy, were impeding any sort of development. Coming out of college, Trubisky was rated so highly because of his physical tools and his athleticism. But Nagy didn't want to tailor his offense to Trubisky. He wasn't willing to play to his strengths. Nagy actively tried to turn Mitch Trubisky into something he wasn't, a full-fledged pocket passer. It was glaringly obvious that their relationship wasn't a good one. It was no secret that Matt Nagy wasn't fond of Trubisky. One of the most infamous things that Matt Nagy did occurred in 2020. According to an article by The Athletic, after the 2019 season concluded, Trubisky prepared to meet with Nagy. They needed to have a conversation. How were they going to make this work? The quarterback prepared notes for the meeting. Nagy, though, didn't make it. He no-showed him, a source said. Mitchell Trubisky ended up being a huge bust and just wasn't that good. But let's be honest, regardless of talent, not many quarterbacks are going to succeed when their own head coach doesn't help them. Now, the most recent example, and probably the one most ingrained in people's negative perception of the Bears, is Justin Fields, the dynamic quarterback out of Ohio State University. The Bears selected him with the 11th overall pick in 2021, but from the moment Justin Fields arrived, he was put in a very unwinnable situation. One of the worst O-lines in the NFL, almost no weapons, no defense, and he still had Matt Nagy as his head coach, who was then promptly fired after Justin Fields' rookie season and was then replaced with the defensive-minded head coach Matt Eberflus, who was even worse. Simply put, Justin Fields never had any help in Chicago. And tell me if you've heard this before, he didn't have a competent coaching staff. Those are the three most recent quarterbacks that have failed with the Bears. For countless reasons, mainly bad coaching, but also bad roster management, bad O-lines, and bad drafting, the Bears haven't had a star quarterback in a very long time. However, they were looking to change that narrative with their most highly anticipated quarterback prospect yet, the kid out of USC, Caleb Williams. He was electric, explosive, his arm talent was elite. He could make some of the most absurd and tight window throws you've ever seen. He had an incredible ability to scramble, extend plays, throw on the run, and find a way to get his receiver open. And in a draft class loaded with great quarterback prospects like Jaden Daniels and Drake May, he was widely considered the best of the best in the 2024 draft class. He was Justin Fields and Mitchell Trubisky times 5 as a prospect. And on paper, he was heading to a good team and one of the most favorable situations for a number 1 pick ever. The Bears had just come off of a 7-10 record in 2023, and they had a good roster. The defense was pretty good. Caleb was going to have offensive weapons in Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, and DeAndre Swift. Now, the Bears did start the season off pretty strong with a 4-2 record, but like I mentioned early in the video, they quickly fell apart after that Hail Mary in Maryland. They went on a 10-game losing streak and just barely managed to break it in the season finale against the Packers. The Bears ended the season 5-12. Caleb Williams showed flashes, but his quarterback play had been underwhelming. Some of it was just bad plays from his part, but to be fair, any rookie quarterback will be playing bad when their confidence is at an all-time low, when they keep losing, and when their team was almost actively trying to ruin them. The O-line was consistently bad in 2024. He got sacked a total of 68 times, the third most in NFL history. But more importantly, the coaching staff was completely incompetent. In a recent article by ESPN, they said that according to the book American Kings, Caleb Williams wanted to watch film, but he didn't know how to, because none of his coaches at Chicago helped him. He said, "No one tells me what to watch. I just turned it on." If you didn't already know, studying film is one of the most vital parts of being a quarterback. Having this basically taken away from him in his rookie year was simply malpractice. Head coach Matt Eberflus and recently hired offensive coordinator Shane Waldron were really bad at not just managing the team off the field, but also on the field. Shane Waldron was consistently holding the offense back with his play calling, and Matt Eberflus had flaws on the defensive side, and was particularly bad at closing out games as he had a 5-17 record in one-score games. As a result of their incompetence, Matt Eberflus and Shane Waldron were fired mid-season. Eberflus's firing was the first time in franchise history that the Bears fired a head coach mid-season. This really just goes to show how bad they truly were. Caleb Williams in 2024 had 2 head coaches and 3 offensive coordinators. Honestly, what quarterback is going to succeed with a coaching staff this dysfunctional? Looking back at the season, most people didn't see this coming, and I don't blame them because the media made it seem as if the Bears were set up to become playoff contenders in 2024.
The one more sleeper team of 2024 is the Chicago Bears making it to the NFC Championship game.
My man.
I think Caleb could lead the Bears to the Super Bowl in his rookie season.
Oh, God almighty.
In reality, they were nowhere near that. However, Caleb Williams and his dad Carl Williams already knew this was going to happen, and that's why, originally, they didn't even want to come here. According to the same ESPN article I previously mentioned, Caleb Williams was so concerned about being picked by the Chicago Bears in 2024 that he and his family weighed circumventing the entire NFL draft, consulting with lawyers to figure out a way around the league's collective bargaining agreement while considering signing with the UFL. Carl Williams even said, Chicago is a place quarterbacks go to die, and Caleb Williams questioned whether he could succeed with the Bears offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron. Now, ultimately, they decided not to go down a path of forcing their way out of Chicago because it would be way too chaotic and because Caleb Williams had faith that he could help turn the Bears into winners. Now, obviously that didn't happen, at least not in his first year there. But maybe he can in the 2025 season because the Bears are finally looking like they're turning the page. The coaching staff has been completely revamped. The one taking the charge is a highly touted new head coach, Ben Johnson. Previously the offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions, he was a huge part in their revival and also them becoming one of the NFL's most dynamic and explosive offenses. The Bears defensive coordinator is former head coach of the Saints Dennis Allen, who by all accounts is a proven defensive coordinator. And also, the O-line has been tremendously upgraded. They brought in All-Pro Joe Thuney as well as Drew Dahlman, Jonah Jackson, and drafted Ozzie Trapillo in the second round. It's clear that the Bears front office understood that their O-line and coaching staff was an impediment the prior season, so they made a massive effort to shake things up. And I'd say they've done a pretty good job of constructing a good team. On paper, that is. If there's anything we've learned from the Bears, it's that on paper doesn't mean much. More often than not, for the Bears, it doesn't translate to on-field success. But I want to finish this video by saying this. Caleb Williams, despite having a disappointing rookie season where he was set up to fail, ended up having one of the best seasons by a Bears quarterback ever with over 3,500 passing yards, 20 passing touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. But now, the Bears finally have a coaching staff that's going to teach their quarterback how to watch film and also put him in the best place to reach that potential of a generational talent. The truth is, if there's ever going to be a time to end that narrative and stigma surrounding the Chicago Bears and their quarterbacks, it's going to be now. But only time will tell if Caleb Williams will be the one to break the mold and shine on a team that for so long has been so used to failing.